This week on The Verdict, we're looking at mockumentary films. Welcome to The Verdict. I'm Lizzy Pegram.
And I'm Paul Schuhart.
And I'm Bailey Gower.
Okay, so Borat is the first one we're going to discuss. First of all, it's a breed of its own. So much so that I'm not even sure we can talk about much more than the release date on this channel. So released in 2006, Borat is a comedic mockumentary to say the least. Its crude and raw behavior makes it completely unforgettable as we follow Borat, a news reporter from Kazakhstan, as he travels to the best country in the world, aka America, to make his mark. Just have a look, and if we can even show the trailer.
Yagshamash, my name is Borat. I'm journalist for Kazakhstan. My government sent me to USA to make a movie film. Please, you look. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm new in town. What to say? Hello, my name is Borat. I'm new in town.
Careful, hey, bye. Welcome to our country, okay?
My name is Borat.
Okay, good. Well, I'm not used to that, but that's fine.
If this car drive into a group of gypsy, will there be any damage to the car?
It depends on how hard you hit them and all that. It's hard
Hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, Borat, Sakya.
Can I say we support your war of terror? Kazakhstan is the greatest country in the world.
I think that the cultural differences are vast.
Exactly.
And I think he's a delightful man, and it wouldn't take very much time for him to really become Americanized.
You want to have a drink? You can't drink there while you're driving.
I like you peoples. How can I be like you?
What's up, vanilla face? Is it not a problem that a woman have a smaller brain than a man?
That's it. Okay. We're finished. We have to leave.
Very nice. How much? She is your wife?
Nope, that's my wife.
In my country, they would go crazy.
Oh, my.
For these two, not so much.
Please, you come see my film. If it's not success, I will be executed.
When you chase a dream, especially one with plastic chests, you sometimes do not see what is right in front of you. Well said, Borat. Tell me what you guys think about the movie, but tread lightly.
You know, what I think is so crazy about this movie is that it comes out in 2006 when it came out, and it really predates or even predicts fake news.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like how if someone just says I'm this person and they have a way to communicate, then they can just say whatever they want and people will just take you at that value.
Oh yeah,
it's just insane. And this movie really just goes to very far into showing like the effects that can have on people.
I know, and it's honestly so impressive that like he's a regular dude from England and has managed to convince so many people that he is actually from a country called Kazakhstan, and that he's a news reporter, and but like this crude humor is just, especially it's like perfect that it came out in 2006. I feel like that was the climax of just early 2000s crude, terrible comedy, and covered that up. Anyway. But honestly, it's because I watched this movie. I see, that's the thing. I'm not sure what all we could talk about without me making a fool of myself or us getting canceled. So, but I'm trying to, oh God, there's too many things to pick at this film, but so very little to be able to discuss on actual TV.
Well, I thought in a way it inspired a lot of other mockumentary films and just do what you want in a way.
Yeah, honestly, I think maybe, I feel like Eric Andre, you know, he's got that same like does whatever he wants, interview type of style, like Zach Galifianakis, but he's not so much man on the street. But I feel like Eric Andre is probably inspired by this type of this type of acting, and like a lot of these scenes were like the dialogue was mostly improv. A lot of the scenes were planned ahead of time, of course, and they had to have some things that were scripted. But a majority of it is just him improving as this character that he takes on, and he lives it completely.
Yeah,
it is so funny though. And like a lot of people, and it's so offensive to people, and it's banned in different countries because people are like, oh, it's so rude. It's like it's racist and it's just terrible. It's not. It is, but the actor that plays it, what's his name?
Sacha Baron?
Yeah.
Something Cohen.
Yeah. Something, Sasha Cohen, something, I don't know. But he isn't a racist himself. However, he pokes fun, and I think does a wonderful job of making fun of those who are racist. And I had an interview with after they go to the rodeo, God forbid, and like we knew what type of people we're gonna find here, but like there was that one guy, and he was like Borat tried to kiss him on the mouth, and he's like, oh no man, we don't do that here. The ones that do that, they walk funny. And then he was like, oh, you know, we do to people like that in my country. We put them away. We get rid of them. And then the guy said, yeah, we hang them. Yeah, we're working on that. That's what we're trying to do here in America. It's like, no, we're not. No, we're not.
You know,
but it's scary to think that man probably votes.
Yeah, you know what's funny about his style is that so he's a clown, and so there's two types of clowns. There's what's traditionally known as white clowns and red clowns. And what a red clown is someone that they dress up, and the comedy doesn't come from the clown itself, but how the clown is able to get you to say stuff that you looking in won't be able to understand, but everybody outside of it does. And he does that so perfectly in this movie. He gets all these people just to be so serious, and he doesn't take it seriously whatsoever. And,
it feels genuine.
And so they just keep constantly trying to appease him or try to change his mind, and he keeps poking fun at them, and they just don't get it. And you're just as an audience member, you're like, how does anybody not see that he's faking it? You know, it's just so hard.
That's what's funny.
It's like that Dirty Grandpa film, I think.
Oh yeah. This makes Dirty Grandpa look like PG. Okay? Or G actually. Yeah, Dirty Grandpa can't even amount. I mean, the craziest thing they did was like shoot a thing in the whatever. It's not the movie we're talking about. Next one.
Let's talk about the next movie. What We Do in the Shadows is a film about vampires and what it would be like in modern times. You know, the stuff that they have to deal with, coming in and out of the house, just drinking blood in general. Now, here's a trailer for What We Do in the Shadows.
Let's go! It's been like this the whole time, Deacon, on dishes, and it still hasn't moved in 5 years. You're a cool guy, but you're not pulling your weight in the flat.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that I'm cool.
No, that's not the point, though.
Yeah,
You're missing
I know.
the point.
Not a flat meeting about how cool you are.
When you get 3 vampires in a flat, obviously there's going to be a lot of tension.
Viago was an 18th century dandy.
Look, a ghost cop. Vladislav is a bit of a pervert.
This is my torture chamber.
Deacon's like the young bad boy of the group.
I'm supposed to pay rent, but I don't.
The trouble with being a vampire is you have to be invited in.
Come in to the bar, please. $4 is water.
Will you invite us in? We need some fresh blood.
Hi, my name is Nick. I've been a vampire for 2 months. My friend Richie's a bouncer. He'll invite us in.
Gentlemen, you are most welcome.
Nick is so much fun.
I'm a vampire.
Vampire! Vampire!
Such a dick.
Nick, why don't you use the front door?
You want to draw attention to this house,
You've got a whole documentary crew following you around.
You let a vampire hunter into our house?
Wait a minute, I discovered my email.
kill you! I'm already dead!
You will not eat the camera guy, maybe one camera guy.
Trying to take. Use your legs.
Wow!
Ah, what the f*** did he do, boy?
Hey, that was... Don't swear. What are we?
Werewolves, not werewolves.
When you're a vampire, you become very sexy.
Do you want to know what I do in the shadows? Nothing. Okay, that's what I do in the shadows.
We're sitting in the shadows right now.
Yeah, we are actually a little bit. You know what I like about this movie is just there's so much to like about this movie, but I love how they take vampires from different eras and they just start they're just like, what would happen if we just took them and just see what they would do? I mean, they're kind of absurd on their own, but when we actually get to see them interact with other vampires, it's just so funny to see how really absurd it is. Sorry to use the same word again, but I can't think of anything else to say. It's just so funny how like the dishes that hasn't been done in 400 years, because they always in vampire books and movies, they're always talking about like thousands and hundreds of years old, or things are, you know, just a crazy amount of time and stuff.
Well, I really like what you said about all the different eras of them combining, because it reminds me of the MCU. That's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And the director in general, I'm not going to attempt to say his name, but he's just amazing, especially with Ragnarok. I thought that was outstanding, especially in the color grading, because the past two Thor films had like no color grading and the story was, and it's just really good to see directors put their own spin on things. But I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what I was going to bring up too, about that. Like, I had no idea that that the guy that played one of the vampires, that was the director of this, also the director of Thor Ragnarok, like you said, and Jojo Rabbit that had just came out because he played Hitler. But I
won an Oscar screenplay.
I was laughing earlier. I just remember because you talked about them doing the dishes, and he's like, you haven't done the dishes in 400 years. And then that one guy's like, I don't do dishes, you know, because we have the three characters. We got like the sweeter one, the guy the director that plays him, and then there's like the bad boy one, and then there's just like the sex crazed one,
and then the super old one,
and then the super old one. That's what I thought was just so funny, is that like they incorporated all of the, like they took all these vampire movies and basically just compiled into one big thing, and like all these like that they can't go anywhere unless they're invited, and then like, because there's so much I'm trying to talk about. I'm like bouncing all over the place. There was, but anyway, about the dishes thing, I was, oh my God, because I think they had the little wheel, they had the little colored wheel, and it's like, okay, and you do the dishes, you take out the trash, and that colored wheel, I swear to God, I've had in my own apartment. But I thought that was really interesting how like they all look different depending on how old they are or their qualities. Because like, you know, the one that looks like Nosferatu.
Oh yeah,
you know, the older one, he's 6,000 years old. So that makes sense as to why he's all like bald and scary. And the other guys are what, in their like 200s or 400s. Just I just really like how they just kind of mush it all together. Like, hey, you know, everybody's got their different take on vampires and what they are. Let's just mush them together. Maybe it depends on how old they are and the qualities that they have. Oh, but honestly, it was just pretty funny, and the flying, just any time.
You know, I'm kind of a little sad. Maybe it was a cheap joke, but I'm surprised none of them started glow or like glitter in the sunlight. Yeah, you know,
that came later. That was the Twilight generation. Did this come before that, right?
I'm not sure, actually, to be honest.
What year was this out?
It was like, I want to say like 2011, maybe 2012 when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, that's about. But you know, I like, and there's so many quality, and like the fact that they can't look into into a mirror and stuff like that. And but like, I think it was a pretty ingenious idea just to see like the life of these people that kind of. I was going somewhere with that. It certainly was.
Well, that's reality TV in a way.
It truly is quite the mockumentary, because like they're all staged in their house, and then they go out into the real world, and kind of, yeah. I swear I watched a video that brought up a very good point. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to talk about that. Never mind.
I really like the references that the vampires themselves are aware of when they do the Lost Boy thing and with the spaghetti and they're trying to get the guy that they're about to eat to look at it so that he sees worms. Or when they're having a roommate meeting and he's like, all right, I want everybody to put down not carpet. Put something. Newspaper. Put newspaper down so when blood doesn't get all over the furniture because it's too old to clean out. Yeah. And he ends up biting her neck and it just shoots blood everywhere.
Yeah, hit the main artery, got everywhere. Oh, it was so gross. Oh my God. And then I didn't even think about the fact that was because I was watching it. I was like, why are they trying to get into all these clubs? And it was just because it's like because we vampires, we have to be invited in. We can just go in somewhere. Oh man, there's just too much to talk about.
You know, this movie, if I remember correctly, they're from New Zealand, and so
yes, that's true.
And so I remember they made a couple other stuff beforehand, and I remember when this actually first came out because there were a couple of nobodies, except from like in their country, and so it's just crazy how he really just this is like his first like real explosion onto the scene. Yeah. Like you're just talking about Thor and JoJo's Rabbit.
And he's still doing good. He won an Oscar.
He's doing amazing.
He's just climbed up the ranks and all that, and it's just crazy because. Back to the Thor thing, I really don't think he would have gotten the ability to write and direct that without this, honestly.
Yeah.
I think...
very colorful director, definitely.
Yeah, he definitely has a unique style to himself. And I remember he was talking about he wanted to write a sequel to this because he's always joking about that. Because I remember one of the other vampires, the sex crazed one, he also helped wrote a lot of the jokes in this. And so they're always talking about how they're going to write one like 10 years from now, and like 10 years comes by, and they're like, oh, well, just another 10 years maybe. and so they're like, we're probably never going to do it, but we're just going to keep saying it.
I know, honestly, there's the new vampire. And he's an interesting aspect because we see all these old-fashioned vampires and how they adjust to modern day society, and then bam, we got a dude from modern day society. And he's like, and then I find that one, the lady that is kind of like their servant that they send out to go fetch them virgin blood. Yeah. And then they were at the dinner table, and then they're like, oh, you a virgin? And she's like, no. And then the slave's like, oh God, I'm very sorry, guys. I wasn't aware of that. And she's like begging to be bit. Like she's like, honestly, if I were a man, it would be different. I'm like, retweet. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, I love when Peter dies at the end. Yeah, a little spoiler, right there. When he gets killed by the vampire hunter, and they're kicking out the new guy. And so he's like, so how long is forever? And you're like, forever. So in a couple days, he's like, no, forever. And like they have like a 5 to 6 minute scene of just like 3 guys talking about how long forever really means for them. This show, so this movie did so well that it's actually FX actually picked it up for a TV show actually.
Oh yeah, for like 2 years, I think, a year.
I did see clips on that on YouTube. I was like, what's this other stuff I'm seeing?
Yeah, so he's really doing really well for himself. I like how they incorporate werewolves into this as well. No one is safe from from the clutches in this movie. They go after everyone, and it's just so funny.
And they're all like, they're just dressed in regular clothes. It's like they're just. It looked like they were just meeting up with a regular group of guys. And they're like, what are we? Werewolves. And then they start like transforming, like, oh, trying to contain it. I'm so glad they put that dynamic in there. I really needed that.
Or when they're just attacking people.
It's too much. I can't. Next movie.
Well, what's the part of that?
Oh, go right ahead.
Well, next movie we're talking about is Best in Show. I found this film very entertaining, nostalgic. It had a rainy day feel to it, so we'll just play the trailer.
Live from Philadelphia, it's the 125th annual Mayflower Kennel Club Dog Show. 3,000 dogs competing for Best in Show. To think that in some countries these dogs are eaten.
Cookie and I work as a team. We met at this dance.
He didn't want to dance.
I got 2 left feet.
I thought he was kidding.
But I wasn't. I was born with 2 left feet.
Beatrice has been showing signs of depression.
Ever since she saw us having sex, what would you like to say to Beatrice right now?
I'm sorry you had to see that.
I've been a hairdresser about 14 years. And I went to a show. I asked my ex-wife, I said, who's that? She says, that's Scott.
We got top loin, porterhouse, T-bone, we got everything.
So basically, you know, meat.
Leslie and I have an amazing relationship. People say, oh, but he's so much older than you. And you know what? I'm the one having to push him away. We both love soup.
The bloodhound not only has a great nose, but they can talk.
What you doing, bloodhound doggy?
What you do? And he's saying, I'm ready. That's when you know he's ready for show.
The goal is that best in show ribbon.
Actually, poodle means puddle in German.
You want your busy bee?
Come get your busy bee.
God, Hamilton, if she doesn't get her door, she's gonna flip out!
It's not in here. You left it at the hotel. Go to the hotel and get busy bee!
That's my favorite, the miniature schnauzer. You'd think they'd want to breed them bigger, wouldn't you, like grapefruits or watermelons?
Don't look at the fathead losers or freaks. You look at me!
He went after her like she's made out of ham.
I won Best in Show.
Oh, yeah? I had someone brush me and everything. Oh, man. So I went in with this knowing that that the dialogue was improv.
Yeah, all of it was.
Oh, man.
And the guy who wrote
fine.
Spinal Tap
Accepted.
did this as well. And Spinal Tap is absolutely one of my favorite films ever.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, you know, my mother actually showed me this, and this is really when I was starting to really get into movies much more, and she had told me that she was like, all of it is improv. All the dialogue's improv, you know, and I really didn't understand what that meant. Yeah. You know, I was like, what does that mean? It's improv. And she kind of just explained it to me. And I've done a little improv myself. It is hard. And this movie does it so well. I would have never have guessed that these actors are just playing off each other. Now that I watch it, like certain scenes, I'm like, you can really tell like they are just playing off each other so well.
Yeah.
It is so
It's very so well.
But it works because the chemistry between the characters is like so nice, and there's a lot of big names in this. But yeah, going into it with the idea that knowing that it was improv, I was able to kind of like analyze it and be like, because I've done quite a bit of improv, sorta, and like, it just blows my mind. But the chemistry between the characters, and they know their character themselves, and they know their other characters, so they have the story, and they're just making it up as they go. But you know, I'm sure some things have to be scripted to an extent. They can't just go all willy-nilly.
Yeah.
But honestly, I love the star-studded cast in this, man. And Jennifer Coolidge, I love her so much. She had a small role, but then her and Jane Lynch got together. I love Jane Lynch. And honestly, I was glad to see there were some gay couples in this. And it came out in 2000. I was like, yeah, we're being progressive. And honestly, I think my favorite characters were the gay couples. In all honesty, yeah, the two men. One was Scott and Fabio. I don't know, but I don't know what his name was. But they were the cutest.
Oh yeah. I love the part when we're introducing, what's his name, Eugene. I don't remember what his last name is. Bushy eyebrows, you know what I'm talking about. I love him.
Yeah. And he had the big teeth for this.
Yeah. I love when we first see the couple and they're talking, and he's like, you know, she comes up to me at a party and she wanted to dance, and she had a reputation, and she's like 100. He's like 100. It's like 100. He's like, you know, always a bit of a Casanova myself. And then we see a picture of him, and then they're just like talking about him having 2 left feet, and how like at first you could tell like it was just.
And he's walking in the contest.
You could just tell that that he wasn't expecting her to like switch it on him, because she was like, he literally has 2 left feet, and you could just kind of see him like, yeah, and then they panned out, and he's wearing 2 shoes. That,
so how do you think that works? Because I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, that's funny how they turned it into that. It's like, I dance like I have 2 left feet. I actually do have 2 left feet. And like, I like to think maybe they cut the camera for a second. They're like, okay, somebody get this man in the left shoe. Or maybe they planned it out. Maybe they planned to have that inserted somewhere in their improv dialogue. But, oh my God, I don't know why that was so funny. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. One of my favorite characters, I'm like, not lying, he could like play the Rugrats, like live action. The guy with the, I don't know what type of dog it was, but he was the, I don't know his name. I feel so stupid. He was Ginger, that Ginger guy.
The one with the bloodhound?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, he was great. I liked him a lot because he really was the epitome of like really Southern or just country accents in general. Because you're listening at some point, you're like, I have no idea what he just said these past like 15 seconds. And I'm like, oh wow, it's like going to your local general store or something.
Then him playing at the end for those like military people.
Yeah.
I like the 2 couples in the where she's like, we met at a Starbucks, but not the same Starbucks. So we had 2 different Starbucks from across the street, and they kept going from the 2 Starbucks to try to meet each other. I love how like it just kept going on. I was like, when is this going to end? About the 2 Starbucks, and they're like, we still drink Starbucks, and they're talking about what drinks that they have.
Are you talking about the older couple? Or
it was like the younger couple. She had braces. And,
that's right.
And they're concerned about their dog, and they're putting the dog to therapy because the dog walked up on them.
And then their life got better when the dog got out. Was my favorite. And like, I think, and then when Jennifer Coolidge is like in the interview with her husband. And it's just so funny. And then she's like, yeah, we have things in common, like we like to eat. We like to speak. Sometimes we talk. And sometimes we're really good at not talking to each other. Goals, first of all. God knows she's got money.
She's like, and we find ways not to talk about. We find things not to talk about.
I love her so much. Anything with her in it, I'm watching it.
Oh yeah, she's.
I'm trying to think.
On a deep personal level, this film hit me because, 2000, that's a lot of time. A lot of films were just, they took their own pace, but now films are just so quick with editing. This really took its time. You got to know the characters, but now all the newer films are so focused. We got to have deep metaphors for everything. This was just real. It felt real. It wasn't as, again, it was improv. I didn't know that when I went in.
Right.
And it felt genuine. I felt like these people were real to extent, of course.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And there's times where I think, there was a couple of times when you could tell like they're using their when they're making up their improv and all that. I think it was like they were at like that dinner party and stuff, and they're all like talking with each other. And never mind. I don't know if I can say it. Never mind. Well, anyway, but yeah, that's a good point that we really get to know all of these characters, because just about anything else, we only really find out anything about the characters like maybe watching a YouTube video about it later, or like we hear like theories about it later on. But yeah, I mean, you get close with all these characters, and the couple that both had braces. Oh man, I think that was my favorite at the end.
Oh, like, freaking out.
Oh, we're so happy now. So happy.
Yeah, without the dog, yeah.
Yeah, she was actually really toxic. She was really.
And it shows how people take these shows like super seriously.
Yeah, honestly, this is a real thing. Like, we're making fun of this, but you can make a real documentary, and it won't vary much. But man, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I like the announcers when he's like, "Do you think you could bench me? I think I could bench you." Or he's like, when there's 2 dogs of different species, do you think they need another dog to translate the barking, or do you think he can just understand him? I just love how the other guy's like, "Oh, I don't know." He just keeps asking these things.
He's like, how do you think they get those dogs so small? You know, there's some way you can like shrink them. He's my favorite. And they're like, wow, why do they have them walking around like that? Are they just, they're checking their stance and their joints and hips. Oh, I can't remember that guy's name for the life of me, but you had me with bushy eyebrows. I do know that.
Yeah.
Every character. I mean, I'm surprised there's just all the big names in this, honestly.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this movie.
It's part of a trilogy too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't either.
It's like it's like a six-piece trio.
I had no idea.
So next week, we'll be talking about 4 war films: Dunkirk, Hitchhiker.
Okay, you want me to take this one over? All right.
I'm sorry.
Next week, we're going to be talking about Dunkirk, Hacksaw Ridge, and Saving Private Ryan. How about you tune in?